Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 607 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. And before you say anything, Gables,
Mm,
first off, happy birthday, Gables.
thank you.
And Gables had a weird request before we started the podcast. He said he wanted 60 seconds to top the show to say something nice about the passing of O.J. Simpson. Go ahead, buddy.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Oh, here's a fun fact, though. Here's a fun fact. For the part of my morning, I decided to go onto Facebook for the first time in like about a couple months, right? And then I start seeing all these memes of O.J. Simpson after he passed, right? And the ones that are getting me right now are the ones where it's like him in heaven and still be chased by a bunch of these police officers inside of his Bronco. I mean, that's just fucking just that's just still freaking hilarious to me no matter what, dude.
Yeah.
But man, I'll be perfectly honest, man. I have nothing positive to say about O.J.
Nobody does.
Simpson.
Nobody does.
I
Fuck
mean,
that guy.
nobody does, but at the same time, out of respect for his family and stuff like that, I understand, you know.
No. No.
But at
They
the
all.
same point,
No, fuck them all. Fuck them all.
but at the same point, man, it's like I've never felt that way where it's like someone passes on and I'm like, okay, next person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I know it's terrible to say, but at the same point, it's like
Mm, mm.
that's just exactly how that situation is. I don't care that this dude was like, oh, it's his football or his commentating or like potential acting stuff. It's probably one of the reasons why the Niners were cursed because he fucking was wearing a fucking Niners uniform or something like that in one of his pictures and stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, he did. He did. Didn't he play his last 2 years for the Niners?
probably. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I really don't know too much about.
He got traded. He played like 2 years with the Niners. He was washed at that point. So
Yeah,
in the late
sounds about
'70s.
right.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, Gills, it is your birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday, buddy. How are you
thank you.
doing? How's your week?
Oh yeah, that week, my week started off kind of a little bit rough and stuff. At the workplace and stuff, I had like one of the elderly donors or something like that. It was pretty much like call me an MF, call me an effer because I could not take any of her stuff or something like that after we closed for
Oh,
for
what
like that initial donation stuff for taking and stuff. So that's how the week started.
was it
But
like? Did she have like a dozen Wii balance boards or something?
oh no, I don't know. She just had like a load of like stuff and stuff, and it was already like after the initial cutoff point,
Gotcha.
And it was just one of those moments where I'm like halfway through, and it's just like one of those things where when you're like halfway away and they know that they could just drive away as soon as like you do something like yeah, man. It was a big old just a hard like F or something
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
just hear that on my trailer like really,
Yeah. Gotta love those
but
people.
yeah, man. It's like it started off like that, then like progressively it got better to the point where yesterday it felt like at work like a lot of things just went into the right place, store sales went good and everything. Then today felt different, It's like it didn't feel like anything like terrible or anything out of the norm or anything. It just felt like I felt like with my birthday, it was like it just felt like it was just something kind of like changed a little bit, But at the
Mm.
same point, it was highly enjoyable. Had a chance to pick up colors for the house. I like picked up like a couple different things and stuff for like point card stuff for both Steam and for PSN and stuff. Renewed my PlayStation stuff. Um, on top of that, got my hair cut, pretty much like shaved my freaking head like I generally do. It's just the normal type of stuff that I would be doing and stuff. It felt nice because the weather was like a good solid like 60 degrees and stuff. It was the first actual 60-degree weather stuff of the year so far, so that was a good positive.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, man. Other than that, I mean, other than that, today has been fairly fun. I mean, it hasn't been any type of disappointing stuff. But how have you been, Tyler?
Oh, you know me, man. Clanging and banging as always. Feel pretty great. The weather's been nice here as well. Today was like, we actually got into like it was like 80 degrees at one point today, which is pretty crazy.
Holy
Uh,
shit!
yeah, so it's been pretty nice. Finally, we're getting to that point where hopefully it's gonna start staying nice. I'm sick and tired of the it's 30 in the morning and it's like 65 in the afternoon. Just get to the 60s. It'd be nice. But I think that's weather talk. I'm not gonna get all that. But I'm doing good. Just clanging and banging. Like I said, as always, nothing too crazy going with me. Just another week. Another fun little week. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Another one cool thing though is I officially got time off of work for the week after, or like that, the week of Summer Game Fest. So
Yeah,
like not like I think Summer Game Fest is like on like June 7th, like the Friday. I got the
yeah,
week after off. So gonna be coming back this year. Gonna do like the live reacts to everything. We'll see
hmm
about Ubisoft. That's on a Monday. I don't know if I'm gonna commit to that after the last.
it may not be even worth it at that point. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah. I'm last year we weren't able to do it, and I'm so happy we weren't. The year before that, I did a live react by myself to the Ubisoft Forward, um, and it was probably one of the worst 90 minutes of my life. Just sitting there by
Right.
myself, live reacting to this Ubisoft Forward, where it was just people sitting on the couch talking, with no games to show. Um, so hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's better. And we got a trailer this week for Star Wars Outlaws, and that looks pretty good. I'm actually kind of excited for that
Yeah.
one. I want to see more from it. I did a live react to that. If you want to check our YouTube channel, check us out. Also everywhere where check. Hey, you can watch a podcast on YouTube as well. So like, follow, subscribe, check us out there. Leave a comment. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, no longer. Google Podcasts is dead. It's now on YouTube Music, I guess. If you have the YouTube Music app, we can
Yeah.
find us there as well. Pretty much any podcast service, you'll find us there. Twitter, Facebook, all that. Please check us out all those places. Share with the podcast with your friends, all that. Really appreciate if you did that. But I did a live react to that. Kind of Koei. Talk about Star Wars Gables. Like, I just wish I can hate it, and it's like an ex. It's like I just want to move on from you. I want you out of my life, and then like all of a sudden you see a little picture and like, oh, god damn it, there's fucking Jabba. Oh man, damn it, fuck. And you start scrolling through your phone again, and you find an old nude from Jabba the Hutt that he sent you, and you're like, god damn it. I miss Star Wars, and here I am. Like I'm just sitting there scrolling through my Jabba nudes. Anyways, yeah, don't go to that Reddit channel. I'm sure that. Do you think there's a Jabba News Reddit channel?
Yeah. I probably think there probably is at some point.
Yeah. If not, I'll make one. But anyways, yeah. Please, yeah. Like this is a video game podcast. Swear to God. But yeah. um, but Gables, without further ado, though, let's get some of the news this week. Not a few pretty spicy news stories going on. This first one here is from Forbes. Destiny 3 apparently, Gables, might be in production here. They did have the final shape, like showcase, whatever you want to call it. Did you watch that?
I honestly did not have a lot of time to really watch a lot of gaming, like news stuff this past week. So I did not see the actual showcase itself. I only heard tidbits of what was going on from one of my friends who is heavily into Destiny 2, is pretty much an understatement. And yeah, it's just a lot of good stuff apparently has been switched upon, and like basically they're going to be eventually doing away with like subclasses. They're actually having like a feature to where you got
The
like two
Prism?
different subclasses that are pretty the prism, not
Yeah.
prison. The prism type of like subclass to where it's like you have two different like subclasses that are just merged into one and stuff and that's part of the things that I've heard in terms of changes, but ultimately it's like one of those things where Bungie feels like they're trying anything right at this moment in time to get players back by doing something completely different and hopefully having to be like a taste of what's to come for the final shape because this is basically Destiny 2's last hurrah. This is Destiny 2's last hurrah is with the final shape. That's what I've been feeling for a long while, even with their initial last set of like announcements for DLC way back like back around like 2021 and stuff with the Witch Queen, with oh god, the last expansion, which was total dog shit, and then like with
Lightfall?
this
Lightfall?
Lightfall, yeah,
Yeah.
that one's responsible for me not even playing Destiny more so than like say a couple hours past its expansion stuff, and with the final shape, I'm actually seeing a little bit more positivity in terms of people wanting to come back and want to get into playing a little bit of Destiny that have lapsed and stuff for a long while. And with rumors coming that there is Destiny 3 inside of production, I mean that doesn't sound any different than what other developers and stuff would try to do. I mean, if there's been a company that has been able to recreate like say a success from like taking down one of their live service games and replacing it with like a sequel to another. It's pretty much Bungie with Destiny, because you had Destiny and then that transition to Destiny 2 and stuff, build upon everything and stuff. It feels like more so that they have to have, like, say, a Destiny 3 lined up right at this moment in time, because even with a bunch of the people that are playing consistently with Destiny 2, it's at that point where people are ready to move on from it. And having Last Light is sort of like a final hurrah leading up to like just having all that stuff and potentially more positive things coming through in the pipeline. I mean, this is probably after this initial reveal, this whole initial showcase for Destiny 2, it seems like that final sort of thing where it's getting people back and showing some bit of positivity to otherwise sort of like negative like year. Just like a negative for the Destiny fan base for over a year, with a lot of the layoffs of the Bungie crew, with a lot of like various like lapses in terms of like quality in terms of their content that they put out, especially with the Lightfall expansion falling on like pretty much on deaf ears and stuff that did not rate fairly well. I think it was like maybe in the 60s. I think it was when
No,
it
it was
first
like
launched.
71 or something. I remember because
71, even so.
I drafted and I got like less than a point for it. So
Yeah, but even so, though, it still was it's disappointing because people thought that the Lightfall was going to be that like thing for the final shape is right at this moment.
yeah,
So leading into it was pretty much like leading into like a prelude into the final shape. So it's yeah, yeah. Just kind of curious now what Destiny 3 will be at this
yeah.
point.
All right, so after coming up, what you've and plus what there's the new enemy for the first time in 10 years. They got a new enemy like the Dredge or something. I think.
Yeah.
Uh, I know people are pretty excited about that, but um, I mean, you're the Destiny 2 guy. I know that I know you hate that a little bit, but you're the Destiny 2 guy, in my life at least. Um, are you how you feel about Final Shape? Are you like you definitely in? Are you with percentage chance you end up playing Final Shape like near launch?
Hmm. That's a tough question. That's really more of how I feel when I try to play a little bit more of it and stuff after their recent changes, really, because it's at this moment in time they're at their last initial point of their whole deals, like their whole like season pass stuff for like each season being $10 and all this other stuff. But was it Lightfall? No. Final Shape is in June, correct?
Yeah, June 4th, I believe.
Okay, June 4th. So we're pretty much like a
It's about
nearly like about a
6
month and a
weeks.
half up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a month and a half out and stuff. It really depends upon now and like the bleed up to like the final shape, because I'm not 100% convinced with the final shape yet. I'm maybe about 30% maybe likely at this point possibly of wanting to play it close to launch,
Okay.
but it really feels like it really will depend upon if I play a little bit more, like say I have my friend that I will be going through and playing a little bit of Destiny 2 with possibly tomorrow and stuff, and I'm just gonna try to venture out and see how things are going with this and see if it's actually worthwhile. Because I'll be perfectly honest, man, I've played a lot of Destiny 2. I've played a lot of aspects, and I've waited a whole bunch of different times in order for that game to get better and not feel stagnant or feel like I'm overwhelmed with some stuff, because that's the number one thing. Even with new players going into that game, they feel overwhelmed with a bunch of the content, with a bunch of like story stuff. For me, I felt kind of like a bit overwhelmed, plus a little bit kind of perturbed, because even with a lot of the content that Destiny, what Bungie did have with Destiny, a lot of the story that I could have been enjoying, like unlocking and stuff, is pretty essentially locked inside their vault, and a lot of things have been sunsetted and stuff to where weapons do not count as much, like say now, as they were back in like say other years and stuff. Like for example, if I wanted to play the whole campaign for Forsaken, I can't do that
Yeah.
because they already went through, locked that up in their vault, and everything else is like inaccessible. If I wanted to play the original story for Destiny 2, I can't do that because that's also been taken off, because that was partially owned by, say, like with Activision and stuff like that as well. So there are some licensing issues that come to that effect. But I I am not really sure.
Okay.
So I'll just get back to you on that and see if that thing will actually prompt me to want to play this a bit more.
Okay. Gables, I'm gonna make my prediction.
uh,
I'm gonna put it at 99% that you will buy it and you will play it because you are. I made this analogy before. I remember you were the same way going into Witch Queen and a little
yep.
bit going the same way in Lightfall. You were kind of that same point. And I was like, what Destiny 2 to you is like Madden to me. I play Madden a lot more throughout the year than you play Destiny 2 now. But
Mhm.
every like I'm not really all that excited for the next one. Like I'm like I'm not gonna buy it. Why am I gonna buy it? I'm still playing this one or like I'll play it for like I'll be like July, mid July. I'm still playing the last year's Madden, and then like August turns around and you start seeing some shit and I'm like oh man. Then it's like it's my most anticipated thing in the world. It's like the next Madden. Like once you get like a couple weeks out, it's like that's all I want to play. I can't wait for the next Madden. And this is your Madden. But Destiny 2 is your Madden, and I will
Mhm.
say, but maybe you won't say it on the show. I think you're gonna still fight it. You're gonna still fight it. But goddamn it, Gables, that weekend when Final Shape drops, you'll be playing it. I guarantee that first podcast after I believe it was June 4th is the date. You'll be talking about the Final Shape on this podcast. I will
Oh, there we
guarantee
go.
it. But yeah, I mean, but it sounds like people are pretty happy with it. Like obviously, like,
Yeah,
and I mean, the Destiny fan base seems pretty happy with it, and that's saying something because usually they're the most miserable fucks out there. Like
they
they're like
are, and that's
nobody
mostly
hates.
Bungie's fault.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like nobody like it. But it's just like this echo chamber of just pure negativity. The Destiny fan base is nobody hates. It's like it's kind of the same. Probably the same thing. Like I am like Madden franchise people. Nobody hates the Madden franchise more than people that play Madden franchise, and that's like me. And it's like, but I still buy them. I still play them. I still love them because the core game is great. It's just
Right.
it's all the air shit that kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, like, I'm somebody that like I love playing Destiny. Like, I we went, me and Jake went through and played Destiny 1 together. We
Yep.
went and bought what was that? What was that first big expansion had of Destiny that like reset it? Um, sort of,
The first big expansion, you mean like it's not the House of the Wolves, but it was
no,
something
that was the
else.
last one. I can't remember what it was, but that was like the first big one,
The
and then
Rise
like
of Iron or something.
maybe that was it. But I remember we bought it. We had a great fucking time playing through all that together, and then like I remember you and me like we bought that last expansion that was supposed to like tie
Hmm.
into Destiny 2,
Yep.
and we went to go play it, and but we were like it was like 100 under like what's like the power level or where the fuck
The
it is.
light level or some
Yeah,
shit like
we were like
that.
100 we were like 100 points. And I'm like it was gonna take us like a month to grind to get to. So I was like, I remember we bought it. We spent like 20-30 bucks on that fucking thing. We couldn't even play it because it was just like unless we just like we just quit our jobs and play the Destiny for a month. Then like jumping in Destiny, like I love playing them. Like I love playing that campaign. I think I played
Hmm.
the first expansion. I went back to, and then like I've told the story before, and like you've kind of already touched on it. Like was it Forsaken, and then there was the other one. I bought them both. They're like $7 or something like that. And I bought them like I'm gonna go back to Destiny eventually. I'm gonna play these. So I'll buy them now while they're cheap. And I started playing one. I didn't finish it. And I went back to play it later. I think it was like before Witch Queen came out. I was like, I'm gonna get
Hmm.
caught up. I'm gonna play Witch Queen because I just love playing. Like, it's a fun fucking game to play. It's gorgeous. I love the worlds and stuff they built. Uh, but I went in and I like couldn't figure out how to play them. And then like I googled around and like found out, oh yeah, they got rid of them. They're gone. You can't play them anymore. Like, cool. I just wasted fucking bunch of money on this shit. And then I think it was last year I went back to play it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna I'm gonna jump in and play it. And I spent like 2-3 hours I just playing like this one session. And I was just like, I'm so overwhelmed and lost and confused. I have no idea where I'm
Hmm.
supposed to go. I have no idea what any of this
Yep.
shit means. Like, I
Yep.
mean, it's great that the game they keep like obviously it's great that they keep building and changing the game, but like the onboard and like I remember just kept being pop up after pop up after pop up after pop up of like all
Yep.
these things. Like here's what we need. I'm like I don't know what this means. Like I need a dictionary for this game to explain what the fuck this shit means to me, and then you can give me the
Yep.
fucking like. There's like multiple tiers of like I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I played like I was just doing around like doing right. I'm like I don't even know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I finally just like I don't know. I'm just wasting my time. I'm getting out. I dipped. And it's like I was talking to some people on our Discord channel a few days ago, and we were talking about like I think it's kind of the same story for a lot of us. Like there's like one guy in there, like our buddy Cam, who loves he loves playing Destiny all the time, but he hates playing the game. Like he's basically the miserable Destiny 2 fan. Then there's like other people like me and a few other people like all kind of same stories. Like one guy Josh, he's like played hundreds of hours of Destiny. Uh, but like he wants to go back, but like he tried same thing. Like, tried going back and was like lost what the fuck's supposed to do. And there's people like a couple people in there like me that just like he want to jump in, and then it's like I'm out. So going back to this Destiny 3 thing. Uh, so this is kind of what's going on here. So a Reddit poster back in February, an account posted something far-fetched on the Destiny 2 links Reddit subreddit. They revealed something called the Prism, which ended up being the prismatic subclass where you can, swap between abilities between subclasses, and kind of one of those things like most of it's like kind of like when there's like a Nintendo Direct that's gonna happen. A million people
Yes.
post fake Nintendo Direct leaks, and then like you come to find out, you check like a couple days later, someone actually like 100% nailed it. It's like
Yep.
okay, cool. So it's like people were like some people knew it, but like there's so many fake ones that nobody paid attention. Um, and kind of the case here where like I'm sure there's a million fucking fake rumors and leaks that come out on the Destiny 2 leak subreddit. This guy posted about it. Ended up being revealed at this new at the showcase we had here. But the most interesting part that came out of this is that he said for the rest of us, he's like, this is all back in February, by the way. Destiny 3 is in development under the codename Payback. One of the big changes for Destiny 3 is for classes to no longer exist and allow any character to spec into any ability. Since lore-wise, there is no reason you couldn't. I guess part of the delay that happened, the reason because this was come out, Final Shapes was come out probably right about now, maybe like February, March. Part of the reason it got delayed was so they can add that actually into this into the Final Shape, the Prism.
Huh.
And he did mention he actually kind of popped back in a day or two ago on that subreddit, and kind of like this obviously that post blew up afterwards, and he mentioned that he's like, I don't know if Destiny 3 is still in production, but he said like at one point that was it was, and we talked about this, and I talked about this. We had like all this stuff that came out about Bungie about it's like it's a mess. Like Final Shape needs to hit, it has to hit, and it's like
Yep.
it's so funny. Like I mentioned that like it's crazy that like they broke off of Activision because Activision, instead of like doing these like making Destiny 2 a platform, they wanted them to like do a couple expansions and then make the new like every like 4 years have the new Destiny, have like the new Destiny numbered one, and
Right.
kind of in a crazy way like maybe it was probably the best idea. It's been what Destiny 2's been out for 7 years now, almost 7 years now.
You want to know what's
Obviously
really
it's been
funny is now we're actually at that 10-year cycle.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Destiny 1 was supposed to be a 10-year cycle. Yeah, and
hmm
it immediately had 3 years later had a fucking sequel. And yeah, so I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Yeah, they did have they in a way at the Final Shape that will be the end of the 10-year cycle, but um I would assume this Destiny 3 is a long ways off. Marathon got delayed to next year. Um
Yep.
Even if Final Shape is a grand slam, it's better than anything we could ever hope for. It's amazing. Um I guess like what the problem is like what's next because this can't be the last hurrah for Destiny 2
No.
like because Destiny 2 is Bungie is Destiny 2
Right.
and I guess like I don't know Destiny 3 is probably if it isn't in development you have to assume it's like I said it's probably a PS6 game Xbox whatever the fuck it's gonna be called game. um you can't have 1 2 3 years of just nothing. You can't just keep doing like
No.
new seasons with like small bits of content. Like I'm sure they'll probably have their expansion plan, but I don't know. I just now I'm like the big concern was like what happens if Final Shape doesn't hit? Like that's bad for Bungie. But like now it's like well even if it does hit, what does that mean for Bungie? Because it's like this is supposed to be in the storyline. Obviously they can like last year was supposed to be in the storyline. That they didn't finish the story. This is gonna finish the story here. This is the WrestleMania 40. But it's like cool. What's next? You know.
Hmm.
So I hope I don't know. Like obviously they can set something up in this, and they have a like they're gonna surprise. I'm sure like I assume they have something planned, but I'm just wondering because that's all I've been hearing about is like this is gonna finish up the light versus the dark. But I don't know. I think it's just very fascinating. That like I'm like oh cool if they can just nail this like they're gonna be fine. And I'm just like cool they can nail it. And I'm like they could still be fucked. So, I mean, how you feeling,
Hmm.
Gables?
Um, yeah, it's basically kind of the same feeling that I pretty much have and stuff like that. Is like Bungie really does need to nail the final shape, really, in terms of like just the production value, in terms of like making their making their fan base happy and stuff to the extent of what's presented, having something new and different that's not like the same old bullshit that they have been doing for the past like 7 years or something like that. But when it comes to Destiny 3, I mean, yeah, they have to do something radically different or something like that. I mean, even if like the Prism class is like a catalyst of what's to come for like Destiny 3 and stuff, they have to be profitable for like the final shapes release. It's also really interesting and telling that there are articles coming out here that actually say that Destiny players are coming back though, kind of like a mass, kind of like from what I think from what I was like hearing though, in terms like as soon as like that showcase occurred for the final shape, there was like the Destiny. I don't think it was like either the servers or like something that was keeping track of things like on Steam or something like that. Like 3 times the players were returning back or something because of that
Makes sense.
initial announcement.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of positivity coming back inside the Destiny fan base for fans that have lapsed for a long while. But yet, you've also brought up good like uh like good points in regards to say people that have either lapsed or they want to want to try Destiny in general and how hard and how difficult, because that's kind of like how I was with Lightfall last year too, because it's like when you're out of that sort of ecosystem and you're out of that sort of thing to where you're not there for each season or each things or this or that, you're kind of left with just wondering, okay, well, I don't give a shit about this and stuff. I'm just going to play the missions that are available right here. Maybe I'm going to improve some of my light levels here or there or something, and then I'm just going to try to streamline what the content here it is, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if you get to that point.
Yeah. And I look, I'm somebody that like if Destiny 3 drops and comes out in a couple of years or whatever, I'll be there day one to play it because I like I said I love
Right.
playing the games. I think the game will be great. Um, I'm just yeah like I'm someone that like it's like I'm just giving up hope on getting back into Destiny 2. So if we get Destiny 3, I'm personally I'm looking that's as a as a fan of those games. At the level I'm at as a fan of those things, that's what I want. So
Right.
um, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Gables, let's move on
Hmm.
here. There's been a lot of confusing stories going on about Dead Space lately. I don't know if you've seen all this. So Jeff Grubb mentioned. So it was announced EA Motive, who made the Dead Space remake. Obviously, we know they're making an Iron Man game. Um, it was announced that they have two teams, and the second team is going to help work on the next Battlefield game. Um, so Jeff Grubb kind of brought up that on the on Game Mess podcast that he was that EA Motive was making a Dead Space 2 remake. It was in
Hmm.
development, but was shelved because of lackluster sales. So everybody out there that did not buy, Gables, did you buy Dead Space?
Yep.
Okay,
I
cool.
did buy Dead Space at
You
PS5.
are. I will neglect you from this statement because if you didn't, I was going to put you in the statement. So for anybody that did not buy Dead Space, fuck you. Okay, and let me repeat that. If you did not buy Dead Space remake, I don't care if you bought if even if it was $8 you bought it for, you're neglected from the statement. You paid a dime to help support Dead Space remake. I love you, but if you didn't, fuck you. Clay, glad we got that out of the way. Next up here. So because of lackluster sales, they got shelved. In a weird case here, EA came out and denied that this was true. Usually, usually this happens. Like people will just they ignore it. They don't say anything. So that happened. Jason Schreier came out and said from Bloomberg said that they were actually making a new Dead Space 2. So they're making a Dead Space 2, it just wasn't the remake. But when it was like shelved or whatever happened, it wasn't even like technically really in pre-production. It was in very early
Right.
like they're still like figuring out what this thing was. So I guess what's kind of confusing here is like they were using the code name of what the code name was for the code name for this Dead Space 2 was the same code name of the Dead Space 2 from the first one. So that's where like
Oh.
some people were saying Jason said he could easily got confused. It's very confusing, obviously, because of that situation, but maybe we just made the assumption it was a remake. Um, so yeah, so all that happened. Um, so sounds like it was in development, but it was in some like technically it's like EA. It's one of those things where like you can admit like yeah they said it was never in development. Maybe technically that was true because it wasn't being developed, but they were people were working on it at some like they worked on it at some point in time, and then it didn't happen. Now they're making the Battlefield game. Um, but I do want to point out that you know companies do lie all the time. Obviously, I
Right.
mean, there's obviously the famous case of like Grub a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, said that Xbox and PlayStation were in talks to buy Bungie, and the CEO responded directly to Grub on Twitter and said that's not true. And then a few months later, PlayStation bought Bungie. So and then obviously maybe the most famous case to me is leaks and reports came out that Nintendo was gonna get ready to announce the 3DS XL, and Nintendo came out and said that's not true. While there was journalists and content creators at a preview event for a 3DS XL, so they were denying it while people were literally they denied it while there was people there with it in their hands. They said no, that's not happening. So obviously these companies will lie. So
Because they want to be the one that does the unveiling of these products.
yeah, it's just weird though. Like why just say just don't like 99% of the time it's like Nintendo does not respond to leaks or rumors or doesn't respond to rumors or EA the same thing. Just don't respond. Just ignore it. Why'd you come out and like say you didn't? Like I'm gonna believe Grubb and Jason Schreier over EA on the situation um, that that this was at least in the works, and then apparently Dead Space sold about 2 million copies, which I don't know. I feel like that's probably pretty good, but I guess not enough for them. I don't know.
Mm.
Pretty a big bummer for me. Someone that loves Dead Space, even um, to the smallest extent, will defend Dead Space 3 to a very 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 small extent there. We'll defend Dead Space 3 in a way. Um, but yeah, just it's heartbreaking, Gables. It's heartbreaking, and I just
Mm.
don't get it. I don't get it, Gables. Like I don't understand EA's fucking like whole thing here. So 3 years ago, they're like, we're just gonna instead of like trying to create all these new IPs, we're just gonna
Mm.
use established IPs. That's why they signed that 3 game deal with Disney
Yep.
to make. They obviously making Star Wars games. Now they're making Marvel games. Like they're like EA makes, and you can argue the business side of things, but the games themselves, like these IPs that they use, they make good games. FIFA, Madden, maybe not NBA, but like NHL, lot of Star Wars games and stuff like that. Like they're at least good. Like the Jedi games, Jedi Survivor especially was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a few years ago they said this, like oh we're gonna like instead of trying to create a brand new IP, like we're just gonna work on established ones and like okay I get that. Just especially right now with the way things are, makes sense. And then they laid a bunch of people off just a couple months ago, and they said we're going to focus more so on our own IPs instead of like paying to use other people's IPs, um, which is weird because like they have like, all these deals in place. Like this is what they fucking do. They make big IPs. They make video games out of those big IPs, um, and now they're like, cool. Well, that's like all right. We're not gonna do Dead Space now. Fuck it. So, but we're gonna make an Iron Man game still, and then we're gonna work on Battlefield. Even though the last 3 fucking Battlefields you put out, nobody liked them.
Mm.
You know,
Pretty
but
much.
Battlefield 21, 2042, 2140. I don't fucking remember. Immediately came out, no one gave a shit. Um,
Yep.
I don't even remember the last fucking one that came out before that. Battlefield was a 5 or 1 that sucked. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Battlefield 5 was one that was negatively like, well, the whole like, the commercial stuff plus like the fan stuff was just like just panned the game and stuff because it wasn't as good as like Battlefield 1 and stuff. That some a lot of those different aspects and stuff. And on top of that, the last Battlefield game launched in such a poor state that people literally return that game in mass and stuff to where now it's at a point where people still the ones that are playing Battlefield right at this moment in time from the last game are the ones that stuck around and actually with a lot of the different types like the patches and all this other stuff, but yet it did damage that Battlefield brand for EA with that initial mishap, and still. So I'm just really kind of wondering if they are working on Battlefield right now, is there going to be people that are going to be wanting to actually go and buy this game because it's kind of something that we've brought forth in the past to where if the previous game sucked ass or something like that, it's going to hurt the next game that could be potentially great,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
The
the thing.
Assassin's Creed effect.
Yeah, I was exactly. Gables knew exactly. It's the thing I've been making for. It's not even. It's a bit at this point, but it's not a bit because I really can't remember that game. But like, Assassin's Creed Unity came out. Obviously, was a
Hmm.
buggy, gigantic mess. Even though it, at that point in time was the highest selling Assassin's Creed game of all time.
Yep.
And then the next one came out, and that game was actually really really good.
Hmm.
Gables, what was it called?
Syndicate.
Thank you. Why can't I remember that game? I don't understand it. It's been like 8 years, and it's not even a joke. I really like. I was thinking about this the other day, Gables, because I was like thinking about like all this. And I was like, I'm gonna like I'll bring up this about whatever, and like I'm like, what the fuck was that Assassin's Creed game called? Like I was like, why can't I not remember it? And I don't know why. I beat that game, and I don't know the goddamn name. I remember
Right.
the sister's name in the game, Evie. I remember her name. Don't remember the name of the fucking title. It blows my goddamn mind. Anyways, uh, it's like yeah, like obviously Battlefield 5, which I remember like I have a pretty decent memory. Obviously, Assassin's part of. I know, Gables, don't give me that look. Outside of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I have a pretty decent memory about remembering things that came out and like video games stuff like that. I remember like a couple of years, like it was like 3-4 years ago, whatever Battlefield 2042 came out, and I
Hmm.
remember I'm like, this is the first one since Battlefield 1, and someone's like, no, Battlefield 5 came out, and I'm like, no, it didn't. Battlefield 1 was Battlefield 5. Like, no, there was a fifth one. I'm like, no, there wasn't. I was like adamant that that game did not exist. And I had to go back and I'm like, I went back and I looked at people. We talked about it. I
Yes,
played
we
it.
did.
And I don't remember a fucking thing about it. I couldn't tell you the title.
It
I couldn't
was
tell you
that bad.
the setting. I couldn't tell you one goddamn thing about that game. I played the fucking thing. I don't remember a thing about it. I guess I also played Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I don't remember. I beat that game, and I don't know what the fuck it's called. But anyways, yeah, it's just like this hole in my brain. It's Assassin's Creed Syndicate title and Battlefield 5 are in that same black hole in my brain of just like never gonna remember this. I don't know. Maybe now I'm gonna hate Battlefield more because I'm not gonna get new Dead Space because of this fucking franchise that hasn't been good in like a fucking decade.
Hmm.
People still just shitting their pants over Battlefield 1942.
Yeah,
That
pretty
came out like
much.
25 fucking years ago. Let's move on. Let me get upset again here, Gable. Sorry. Thank you for always having my back on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Maybe if I
Oh
just
yeah.
say it like 5 more times, I'll finally remember it. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed. I can't even say it 5 fucking times.
Just as soon as you do the third time, it's just your mind just goes blank and you just go cross-eyed over it.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Uh,
Oh
anyways, moving on
God.
here. Uh, Prince of Persia, the remake, Gables, that was famously
Yes.
announced in June of 2020, has
Hmm.
come out in February 2021. Um, it's been over 3 years now. Still hasn't come out yet.
Yep.
Obviously, it came out. That original trailer came out, and it looked like ass, and everybody made fun of it. And that game
Yep.
was like imminently coming out. Um, and then obviously they delayed it indefinitely. The team that was working on it eventually, I think it was like into 2022, maybe like early 2023. They announced they got moved to Ubisoft Montreal, and the plan was that Ubisoft Montreal was building upon what was already worked on, which is kind of
Yes.
crazy because like, well, the game was done. So what? Okay, anyways, like what the fuck are they working on? But anyways, but so this is from Insider Gaming, by the way. I'm just gonna read some of the clips I got here. So Ubisoft official announcement on the change of developers said that Montreal would be building upon the work already done by Ubisoft Mumbai and Pune, I believe is how you say that. But from what we've been able to gather, it's been completely redone. Everything is built from the ground up, which includes a complete graphical overhaul, new animations and mechanics for combat, parkour, and much more. Starting from scratch has meant the game has been rewritten, recaptured, and
Right.
mocap, and more. Remember this game was coming out, and it was only like a $40 game. It wasn't even a full-fledged game.
Yes. Yes.
Yuri Lowenthal, who also does the voice of Spider-Man, He was the voice of the original Prince from Prince of Persia, and he was also in the trailer when they revealed the remake. Was also doing the voice and the mocap for this. Will no longer be reprising his role, despite him doing so in the original, like I said, original trailer here. And yeah, so apparently,
Hmm.
Insider Gaming here got some like some clips. Obviously, they're not going to post them. They said they got some gameplay clips of like where the game's at right now, and it's still in very early development.
Hmm. That's just really disappointing at this point.
Yeah, it's like it's not even Montreal's fault. It's kind of like I remember when the Dead Island 2 came out, was that last year I believe. Um,
Right.
and I can't remember the developers that made it, but like it was like everybody was praising them from like, man, I can't like, good for you for like turning this around and like putting out a quality game that sold multiple millions of copies. And I'm like this was a normal development for us. We just made the game from the beginning and put it out. Like this was like a normal development. Like to us that
Right.
like I saw that game revealed like a decade earlier, and it went through like multiple publishers, multiple developers. Like I think it went through like
Yep.
6 developers, and it just kept getting restarted every time it switched over. And it's just like to us, it's like oh my god, I can't believe you made a good game out of this. And it's like no, we just made a game. Like we didn't nothing was out of the normal for us. And like it's kind of like in this case here from Montreal, where it's like they're just handing some chicken shit and instead of like trying to make chicken salad out of it, they just threw the shit out and they're like, we'll just make our own chicken salad here. That's kind of what they're doing here.
Right.
But to us, it just looks like chicken shit still. But I hope that made sense, people. But anyways, um, I'm baffled that a game that was supposed to come out over 3 years ago is years away still. Yeah. This is like Last Guardian levels of like development here.
It's sort of like that, but at the same point, I look at it from the opposite perspective to where that game, even though the Prince of Persia remaster has taken so long just in development and stuff, in that time, they not only put out the Prince of Persia game that has been releasing, going to be released, that actually did release
Lost Crown.
earlier on this year, and then flash forward to this past week and stuff during one of these like little independent like
That Triple I showcase.
that Triple I showcase and stuff
Yeah.
like that, what happens is there's a new Prince of Persia game, and it's called The Rogue Prince of Persia.
Yeah. Looks awesome.
And that thing looks fucking awesome too.
Comes out early access next month. Yeah. I will say I didn't put it in the show notes here, but that Triple I showcase, it's like 45 minutes. Check it out. It's really good. There's like 36 games announced. I mainly I fast forward through some because there's like probably like half dozen or so are like RTS games and shit like that I don't care about.
Yep,
But disrespect those people,
yep.
just not my bag, baby. But there's some really great games that are in that showcase, and I highly recommend if you are a fan of gaming and you want some cool indie games to kind of fill some holes here while we wait for the big stuff. Check that shit out because it looks pretty great. But yeah, go ahead, Gables.
Mm. Well, like I was saying though, it's like in that span of time to where they could have kept on working on the remaster of Sands of Time and stuff, we're getting quite possibly potentially two fantastic Prince of Persia games and stuff in that initial gap and stuff. I mean, obviously there's no excuse for leaving that game that's supposed to have been released like 3 years ago at this point, like in the back burner and stuff, pretty much. But at the same time, we got an excellent Metroidvania style of Prince of Persia game. We have what looks like almost like a platformer in terms just a strategic, like almost like a side-scrolling platformer Prince of Persia game. It almost looked like
Mm-hmm.
from the initial footage. And what I'm loving most about it is they are pretty much having different takes on what type of Prince of Persia game that they're going to be making, right? So it's like one was like kind of like a cell shaded like this and that, with like the Metrovania aspects and stuff. This one is more like a nuanced style of a Prince of Persia game. It looks fairly like faithful to some of the platformers and stuff from what the roots of Prince of Persia in general of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But it leaves me fascinated that they're thinking of new concepts of like a familiar IP and stuff, and not like just going the realm of, oh, okay, we're just gonna make this AAA like Prince of Persia game and stuff, and like have all this like crazy stuff going through. It actually got me to think. It's like, why is it that more big companies, like say not just Ubisoft though, but like say just put out smaller games like this, a familiar franchises like consistent,
Yeah.
like almost like every couple of years or something, just have a new take on like the familiar franchise and stuff, and have it be like this good of quality without having it be AAA. Because
Yeah.
that's what's
Yeah.
kind of like renewing my interest in wanting to get into Prince of Persia, is because you have these games that focus on something almost completely different, or focus on something that's incredibly familiar, but it has a different take on it that is interesting, that I do want to go and like enjoy. It's, you think for something that is this simple to try to understand, more companies would try to build that route in between doing these major AAA games,
Yeah.
because we wouldn't be at this point with the AAA gaming industry right now, where it's like we keep overspending on multiple different types of projects or live services that don't go anywhere, if, say, we would have a good balance between a lot of these major sort of releases and then the smaller games in between. It,
Mhm.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Tyler. It's just seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I've been screaming from the rooftop for like a couple of years now with like everything going on. It's like, like instead of making like, or like I've been saying, like make the expandalones like Uncharted Lost Legacy and Miles Morales shit. Like that's like,
Right.
or like what Far Cry does, where they make the big game, the next Far Cry numbered game, and then they build like a side game off of that same map and reuse a lot of assets and stuff like that. It's like keep doing that. Unfortunately, though, Lost Legacy from not Lost Legacy, Lost Crown. I don't think it sold super duper well. Last report we had here, so that's kind of disappointing. Like obviously, Metroidvania is like probably the most crowded market in gaming right now.
Absolutely, it is.
Even like Metroid Dread, like even though it's the best selling Metroid game of all time, didn't exactly blow the socks off of anybody for as far as sales go. Obviously, cause it's a $60 Metroidvania in a world full of independent, $15-$20 Metroidvanias. And this is
Absolutely.
also being made by the Dead Cells people, so it's gonna be
Huh.
quality. And it's a yeah. So
Wait, this is made by the Dead Cells crew?
yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
yeah. So they have two teams. So this is the game they're making, and because they last year they put out that Castlevania expansion for Dead Cells. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, this part of it too. I've been like, I remember when like Nintendo like did a couple like they had a couple indie teams, like they did the Cadence of Hyrule, and I'm like, this is
Yep.
the future. Like I hope Nintendo does more of this, and just never did it again. Like that was like
Yep.
5 years ago. It's like, oh cool, like this is like, do more of these, please. No, not gonna do that. It's like, because I love that they have like known really good um independent teams make a great game that you're known for making in that style with our IP, especially if like if you're like it's an older IP or an IP like you don't like Prince of Persia, like that is a perfect franchise to give to a Dead Cells team. Like that is exactly what you want. So I wish more, like I just wish more studios did the same thing. Like Konami, I'm looking at you. Um, please do that. Um, but yeah, like do the same thing. Give I know they did like the expansion for Dead Cells for Castlevania. Just fucking give the Dead Cells team a Castlevania. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
No shit.
um, yeah. But I think yeah, that's it for the news this week. Let's go ahead. I did. Coming out of that, Gibbles. Did you see Vampire Survivors new DLC coming out?
I saw that it was announced, though. I didn't have a chance to delve into the trailer of it released.
So they finally Vampire Survivors finally teams up with Konami, but
Yeah?
it's not the IP you think. It's fucking Contra. They're doing a Contra fucking team up. So uh, it's like someone had a good point though. It's like, well, if they teamed up with Castlevania, like, would you be able to tell the difference? Like, that's a good point. Yeah, I can't argue that. But
No,
also,
you wouldn't.
yeah, I was like, it's kind of yeah, it's like it's borderline already. Yeah, I'm surprised Konami hasn't sued. Um, but yeah, they did announce that it's also coming to PS5 this summer. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, good.
Um, yeah, I love that game. It's a fantastic game. I'm just not gonna play it. I'm a recovering addict of Vampire Survivors, and I don't want to go back because I'll lose myself again. I'll have to quit the podcast. Gil
Oh,
told me he was playing
sweet.
Balatro yesterday, and I'm like, well, I'm never gonna see him again after this. It's a miracle I showed up. So same reason I'm not playing that one. Uh, but let's get to some other news this week. Gibble, did you see the Persona 6 color leaked?
No.
Can I tell you the color?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. People are getting mad because they're seeing the color. It's green.
Green.
It's green.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense because you had like Persona 1 is like kind of like a purple type of color, and then like Innocent Sin, the Persona 2 and stuff was red in some aspects of that stuff, and then like Eternal Punishment was sort of like kind of like a purple or something like that I'm seeing, but Persona 3 was blue.
Yeah.
Yellow, I think, was Persona 4, and
I
then
was
I
it.
think it was Persona 5 that was red as well. So
Yeah.
have this being like as a green and stuff makes a lot of sense to me for Persona 6.
Okay. I didn't want to say it without asking first because I've seen some people get mad because the color leaked. I'm like, the fucking color. I
I
don't know.
don't
I don't get it.
understand why people would get mad at that. I mean, come on. They do these type of color schemes and stuff, and doing like green makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah. It's not like I told you Dumbledore died. Anyways. Uh. anyways. Uh. uh Immortal. We'll try that again. Immortals of Avium, developer Ascendant Studios. So last year, into last year, they laid off half of their staff after Immortals of Avium came out.
Uh-huh.
Then they announced. Sounds like I don't know if they officially announced it, but it was reported that they had let go of the rest of their staff. So
Oh, that
really sad.
sucks.
Yeah, really sad news there. I thought um, I bought that game. It just came out on PS Plus.
Yes,
I think it's
for
for
the month
everybody.
of April. I
Yeah,
believe that it did came out for PlayStation Plus, but
yeah,
if you want to play the game that a lot of those crews and stuff, a lot of their hard work and labor of love and stuff put into that game, you can actually play their end product and stuff on PlayStation Plus.
yeah.
That's a
Um,
positive.
yeah, and I think it's also on like Game Pass Ultimate via EA Play. So
Okay.
interested in that. Check it out there. I played it for about 6-7 hours. I liked it a lot, but then I found like it kind of turned to like more of like an open area game, and I was kind of wanting like more of like like more of like a hallway shooter type of thing, like
Hmm.
more straight through. I was hoping for like a 10-12 hour game, and come find out it
Yeah.
was like a 20-25 hour game. So I
Oh
was like,
shit.
mm. But like I don't have any major issues with it, but I think it's a quality game, especially like if it's if you have PS Plus or you have Game Pass Ultimate or EA Play or whatever, it's on there, and I've seen it on sale like for like $20 a lot too. So I think it's definitely worth to check out at that price, especially if you're looking for stuff to play here. And then last but not least here, it sounds like id who make the Doom games, apparently their next game should be revealed at the Xbox showcase in June. So
Ooh.
yeah, the
Hmm.
makes sense because that was April 2020. Like yeah, because that was the Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal came out the same day, and that was like everybody's COVID games.
Oh
First,
yes.
so I guess I could see that it's been a little over 4 years. Maybe the game's not imminent, but maybe it's been long enough they can reveal it. But yes.
Please
But
let it be the
Gables,
next Doom.
yeah, God, please, and get rid of the goddamn fucking hook shot. I don't want get rid of it. Get the fuck rid of it. It was
Go back to what made Doom 2016 amazing. Just don't add a lot of various bullshit. Just
yeah,
have it be amazing.
yeah. I Doom Eternal still a great game, but man, Doom
Yes.
maybe it might have been a thing where like I think that was like maybe the most hyped I've ever been for a game outside of like Ragnarok was like
Yeah.
was Doom Eternal. Like man, that was like one of my favorite games I ever played. Probably my that and Titanfall 2 are probably my two. It's a 1 and 1A for best first person shooter campaigns of all time. So definitely a high bar to hit. Just didn't love this hook shot. So get rid of that, or find a way to make it better. And I'm in. But Gables, let's get into what we've been playing, buddy. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, cool. I don't know why I asked because I haven't really been playing anything. I've been playing some more Helldivers too, Gables.
Yeah.
It's a great game. I don't know what else to say at this point. I fucking adore it. I can't not want to play this game. Does that make sense? I don't know. I always want to play this game. I don't know why I was making it so difficult for myself,
You generally
especially
always play like alone or something. You play with people. What?
typically. I'm like so. What I do is like a little tip for people. If you want to level up kind of fast, um, just like pick the world you want to go to, and then hit square that does quick play, and you can just join people's games. And you can kind of join in, and like you join in like a few, like you're probably like 5-10 minutes into their game, and then you can like if you want to level up kind of fast, it's a good way to level up fast and boom and like because you get all the XP that they get, but you don't have to do all the
Hmm.
work. It's kind of great. So I'll do that every now and
Yeah.
again, like especially if like I don't have like a lot of time. Like if I like kind of like I just want to do like a quicker game because games can, if you want like depending on how crazy you want to get, if you want to do like a lot of the because every game you go into there's like different areas you can take out extra shit you can do. Like there's a main thing
Yes.
you can knock that out in like 10 minutes if you want to. But if you want, like, you can run around. You have a 40-minute time limit on all these worlds, so you could stretch it out to like 25, 30 minutes sometimes if you wanted to. Um, but yeah, so I like to do that, especially if like I get home from work and it's like, I've only got, maybe like 30, 40 minutes. I'm like, I don't, I can play a few more games and get a little more progress that way. But if I'm just sitting there like weekend, I'll just jump in. I'll just start a game and like throw an SOS beacon out. People can join me, stuff like that, or like you can join other people's games still that way, and like they like start early on, or like join them like right as they're starting too. So, but yeah, I play by myself, but I'm like usually in a group of people. I just not talking. So, um, but yeah, like in man, like right now, like man, I just love all the dumb shit that's going like even though it's like kind of bullshit like kind of thing where like they're kind of just getting you to like they do enough to like the areas and the maps and what's going on to like keep it kind of spicy and interesting, but like
Right.
you're really just kind of redoing the same content over again, but they just kind of add little different things to it over and over. But the
Yeah.
story that the social media team tells you like it's so great. I just love it. Like so like last I think it was last week, like hey we're almost pushed back the automatons completely, the robots, and we did it, and it was like for a whole weekend you couldn't. There were the automatons were just gone. There was
Oh
no
wow.
missions, nothing. You can only fight the bugs for like a whole weekend, like 3 days. You just couldn't do it, and like everybody was celebrating. It was awesome. It was a really great moment. And then I think it was like Tuesday. It's like guys, that was like the front line, and like they're back. And but it was funny before that. Like I think it was Monday. They posted a tweet like congratulating all of us for pushing them back, and everything like that. And it was like the tweet was like, hey, like this long tweet about how like, congratulations on defeating the automatons. As your reward, you receive an extra 1 minute break today. That 1 minute includes you reading this message. And it was just a funny. It's just like dumb shit like that makes me like that makes me love it. And it's just like cool because like everybody wants to get like excitement of like, oh my god, we gotta push the automatons back, and everybody jumps in and like you want to go back, you want to like you want to take these, you want to take them out, and it's like that's all I've been doing for the last couple of weeks is like when I play is like I'm taking them out, I'm focusing on them, even though like I prefer fighting the bugs. The bugs I think are more fun, a little easier as well. But it's just so fun to go back and there's like little like they purposely do like little teasers to kind of fuck with like to create these like conspiracy theories. So like I mentioned
Yep.
like a month ago, they like overnight like did an update and it added flying bugs into the game. And
Oh
the
boy.
developers and like their Twitter account was like, we're denying it. And like, no, that's not true. It's not. There's no flying bugs do not exist. And like, this whole thing, and like even though they're in the game and they're real, they're just like denying it. And then like a week later, they like tweet out, it's like we are seeing some possible evidence of flying bugs. Not to say that the people that were saying that like these fake people were out there like that they were right. Just that hey, we're
Right.
starting to see some evidence here. It's like it's this whole like stupid funny thing of like just like this military like just how crazy the military is like the lore of like what's going on like you always see like red lasers firing like the
Yes.
automatons like they shoot red lasers, and now we're like people are starting to see like blue lasers, and it's like well, what the fuck, like they're shooting from like we can't see where it's coming from though. It's like off the map, and like so it's creating all these like conspiracy theories and like what's going on guys, and it's like the subreddit is like crazy right now where like people are like so into the bit of Helldivers that like they are like people that like they're like just reporting like hey like something's going on here like whatever like talking about like some rumors and leaks and stuff like that, and like they're actually reporting them in the subreddit to like the people in charge because of like they're against they're against the government and shit. It's so fucking like it's so fucking awesome. I
That
just
sounds amazing.
it is great. The like just like how into people are, and just like when you talk to like every now and then people have their mics and you can like I'll talk a little bit to them and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and like some people are just like completely like role playing and like they're in, and it's just so fucking funny like how like yeah like we might be playing some of the same content over and over again, but like when you get into like the meta of the game of just like you pay attention like I said like the social media accounts. Like you get into like not crazy. Like I'm not really going like the subreddit crazy. Like I dabble in it a little bit to see kind of like what's going on. Like what the automatons like just took over a planet, destroyed the planet, and there was like this whole like mourning planet, like this whole mourning period. People were like devastated because we lost this planet. Like this happened a few weeks ago, and it was like people were calling it the Nom of Helldivers, and it was like it's just like it's so great. It's like it's fucking.
Oh
I
God.
love this game. I just love like when I'm playing this game. I just enjoy the conversation. I almost enjoy the conversation around Helldivers more so than actually playing the game. And I love playing this game because it's so fucking fun. And like I said,
That's
even just
really
playing by
cool
myself.
how
Go ahead.
dude, dude, that is so fucking cool how like the people the media like the media sites and stuff like and how the Helldivers devs are dealing with all that, that's perfect in and of itself. But they've done it so well that even the players are kind of like a little bit in on the act, and every little
Yeah.
strange thing that notices is different inside the game. They're like just literally just reports like, okay, what the hell are you guys up to here?
Yeah.
It's that's amazing, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe like what they've done with this game. It's like I no one probably talked more shit about this game before pre-release than me, and I'm one of those things where I'm so happy I was wrong because yeah, this is might be my game of the year. That's saying something. Like I just like nothing's brought me more joy this year than playing this game. So, yeah, that's all I'm playing. It's like it's just been dabbling in Helldivers too. So, Gables, what about you, buddy?
Okay, so I've been playing one game this past week, and it's been the perfect game to play in between of like work and everything else, and that has been Balatro. Balatro to and from everybody that it's either listening or something like that. This is a game that I really did not have too much interest in when I first heard about it or when it first like was released. And quite honestly, no, I don't really play a lot of poker, so I'm not really too familiarized with a lot of the inner like things in terms of what moves are what, what combination of cards equate to what. All I know is that all I've heard about the terms like full house or straight or a flush or like a pair and all of this other stuff, but I've never really played too much of poker in my lifetime. So I decided to buy this game as like a roll of the dice because
Roll
I've
the
heard
dice
so
is not
much
a
great
poker reference.
things.
Gables, try it again.
I know. So I decided just to cut my deck and stuff and just redraw a fresh set of cards and stuff. And I got to admit, this game has done a fantastic job of not only teaching me how to play poker, but like it has done it to a degree to where I really just got sucked into really wanting to play like one more game because it has that roguelike element to it, to where even with like a new run and stuff, you're constantly unlocking stuff. You're constantly trying new ways and stuff. You're trying so desperately like to get new jokers or get like new like arcana cards or like tarot cards and stuff that'll affect certain aspects, and it's completely random. It's like when you invest inside the point the cash stuff that you do earn and stuff inside the middle of your run and stuff, you can use it to either improve, say, what cards you get or change specific card suits to different card suits, or if you have like if you wanted just to buy a couple packs or something based upon, say, like the standard cards themselves, there's always like some sort of RNG chance of, oh, okay, maybe you get a glass card or something that's going to be only good for like one or two uses, or hey, you're going to get this wild card here to where it's like basically can be any suit, and it's like you have those type of options on top of trying to beat all of these type of bets, the small bet, the large bet, or like the boss bet and stuff of each round before you go when the ante gets higher and higher and higher and higher. I think the highest ante I've actually completed in upwards of is like a 5. I think I want, because there's 8 in all, and each time you do a run and stuff, the way you score points is based upon how well you're able to accumulate the right Joker cards. So you only have like about maybe 5 spots for Joker cards, and like 2 like different slots or something, like one for like it's a combination of like the turret and like the Arcana cards, and those ones have their different abilities. It's like each time you accumulate the mission that you have to do for a bet, you get that specific type of points. You get just basically you earn the money from the round completed, and you use that to go into the next round and this and that. And it's so simple to get into. It's one of those games to where it feels like I'm playing Vampire Survivors for the first time, to where I love what I'm playing. It's super simple just to get into a game and then just kind of turn your mind off a little bit and stuff and still play. But at the same time, it's difficult to master the type of stuff that I want to do inside of this game because I have to keep a lot of things into consideration while I'm playing a hand. Like, say, do I want to hold these face cards and stuff, like the king, queen, and like jack cards or something for the next round? Or do I want to use them in a collaboration with an entirely, like, say, big suit? Like just a flush sort of suit or something like that to where I just want to discard a couple different cards just to get like a couple more like say heart cards or diamond or club or spade cards and then just do the flush that way to get even bigger points, you know. It has that right type of risk and reward that I really like to where there are times you will completely burn yourself and you completely lose a run because you discarded at the wrong time, but there are times where I've saved my discard to like the very last bit, and I've ended up getting the right card combination in order to do like a pair, which will then combo into a joker that maybe like will add even more multipliers because you used a heart type or a card that used like that has you increase like the multiplier what you can or in like say with a spade type or maybe doing a pair instead of a combo or doing like a flush for tip of the combo or it's has that type of unpredictability and it has that type of like flexibility to where you could do these specific types of decks and like you could flourish fairly well. I mean, I've seen people on Twitch do speed runs in terms of try to do like Balatro stuff, you know, and it's quintessentially people that have some knowledge of poker, but yet they have added on to it to because they have that inner knowledge of that card game in general. With these RPG, RNG like elements and stuff, they are able to get through things super quick and stuff. But as it comes right now, I've unlocked I think about 5 different types of decks. I mean, the last one I unlocked though, it was like a green deck that has like a it has a specific ability, I think, in terms of earning different types of cash or something. I may be remembering that wrong, but oh well. At the core of the gameplay, it's just a game of poker. You can, like, say, try. It's just basically you're trying to beat points. Like, for example, the very first match, the very first bet you get is like a small bet, and it could be like upwards to like the 300 points or like the 450 points or whatsoever. But with the different types of combinations, like say matching two for a pair or three of a kind or four of a kind or a flush or something, you can pass that fairly easy. But once you get up to the ante levels, like say the higher ones, say like with a 5 or a 6 or something, the points will be starting blowing up catastrophically, like say 24,000 points now you got to aim for, or like 50,000 points now you have to aim for in order to do the right type of combination suit. And you could completely be screwed by like the luck of the draw, you know, to where you may have had the right cards in your deck or the right type of like jokers or arcana or atari cards, but if you get like a bum hand like a couple different times or if you're discarding and stuff and like you still getting crap, I mean that's going to defeat your entire run. So that aspect of Balatro can be frustrating, but I am really taking notice that during the initial week now that I've played it, I've already spent close to about like 7 or 8 hours just playing this game. And it's because I want to do that one more game mentality. And I'm getting a bit better as I'm like progressing. Like I'm starting to recognize different card suits, like in terms of combination with others. I know now what like say a two or three of a kind are, or like a flush, like entirely, you know, the flush of like a particular type, like say with if I get all of say like a spade or something like that, you get all 5 of the cards are like spades, that's considered like a flush or this or that. But yeah, it's really opened my eyes in terms of like wanting to play poker in general, but it also opens my eyes to hey, these games, these games that are on Steam that hardly anybody really like, you know, maybe not a lot of people like around our neck of the woods or our circles of like gaming like groups or something really do talk about as much
Yeah.
will, you know, like may not know too much about it, but for those that us that do or happen just to just have a random chance or something, just try it like on a Steam or something like that, I mean, we will people will definitely get to know much more about it, but it's led me to want to try to find different types of games and stuff that have recently released that are getting these like critical acclaim, like sort of reviews, and that's kind of like how I ended up buying like a couple games last night in like Brotato, which I did play a little bit on Game Pass and stuff, but it's only like $3 and something. So I'm like, it was like a little 10% sale. And then Buckshot Roulette is another game I've also purchased. It's supposedly it just released this past week. It's supposed to be fairly decent, right?
Mm.
And the whole concept of that game is like it's just you and the dealer. It's Russian roulette with a shotgun and stuff, and you can do all these various type of like stuff in order to like trick the dealer or do this or do that. But that's something that I want to try to play a little bit like over the next week and see how I'm enjoying that. But yeah, this is not going to be the end of my game purchases for games released this year because I've already went through my initial part at the beginning of the year, investing inside a little bit of the Dreamcast, playing my fill in terms of that at this point. The Sonic Adventure 2 dud pretty much kind of soured my taste right at this moment, so
Mm.
I need a couple months to cleanse myself so I can get back into wanting to play Dreamcast stuff. But I'm really enjoying what I've played this year. That's the crux of what this week has kind of led me to believe. From playing Balatro, playing games like Rotato over the year here, and like little bit of like Persona 3 Reload, not a lot, but side order was definitely beneficial as well. I mean, the Splatoon 3 side order stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have been playing for this week.
All right. Well, very cool, Gables. Um, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us this week, guys. So if you enjoyed this, liking this, please like, follow, subscribe. Check us out wherever podcasts are available. We're on all those places. I got a frog in my throat there. We're on YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever. Leave comments. Twitter, Facebook, same thing. Check us out there. Nerds, Drunk Nerds Podcast. You'll find us. 5-star reviews, comments, likes, shares. Tell your friends. Uh, Hire someone to fly a plane with the sign that says "Listen to Nerds Podcast." Drunk Nerds Podcast. Appreciate you did all that for us. But I was your host. I was Tyler.
I have been Colonel Gables, so until next time, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yeah,
Fuck OJ.
fuck OJ.
Bye, guys.
See ya. Go, go, Action Bronco.